we're into our final best of 3 of the day here now, live from Katowice, Poland, here at IEM. It should be a blitz of an affair, and Coollerz, the reigning champion, the holder of the belt that took his victory at Luka, is here to prove that he's still able to dominate, as he'll be facing off versus the hometown hero, the Polish Punisher, in Av3k. It'll be a tight affair between both of them. Av3k, at times he shows up with some major upsets. It seems to be an extra little pizzazz that he has that comes out at just the right moments when he needs it. But going up against Coollerz will be an incredibly hard task. Flea, catch up for one final time tonight. This is going to be a bit of a bad boy game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these are two of Quake's superstars, right? They both have tremendous followings, very popular among the community. Coollerz, of course, our current champion. He's the one who won stage 1. Av3k, not doing so well in the online stage, right? He almost made it into relegation, or almost dropped down into the relegation matches, I should say, but barely managed to stay clear of those. But the man has got style, and we've seen him do amazing things. I still remember, I think it was DreamHack 2018, where he made it all the way to the grand finals against Rafa. So obviously he's got what it takes.
Av3k has been one of the bigger question marks in Pro League. On the pure basis of, in the weeklies, he's very up and down. The thing is, you just can't ever count him out, because it's like you said, Flea, he is a fan favorite. He is a famous player because of his legacy of just being an absolute world-class Quake player in general. So it's almost just been unusual that he has not had more success in the weeklies than you would think, because that is the standard of which he is held to. Because when he does get a victory, he takes out some world-class players.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, it doesn't surprise you though, because you know he can do it. It's just, it's not been as consistent as you might think. On LAN, however, that's where it always completely changes. Av3k on LAN historically has been very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, you can see right here his previous matches during stage 2. He lost most of them, but then again, he beat Cypher 3-0, clean win. Same goes to Base, who we just saw put up an amazing fight against Toxic. So clearly, the man has got some skills, and a lot of fans too, because his playstyle, I mean, it's just something that the people tend to love. Way back in the day, he coined the term Av3k aggression, just because of his ultra-aggressive playstyle, always going for the confrontation, constantly applying pressure. He's been doing a little less of it in Quake Champions, because he feels like the game doesn't lend itself as much to it as some of the previous Quakes did, but still, the man's obviously loved by many.
Oh yeah, he's got a huge fan base behind him, obviously playing in his home country as well. Hopefully that will give him the reinvigoration he needs here today. We do have to pick some bans, so let's really get this one under the microscope, Brian.
Yeah, so we'll start with Awoken first. Very traditional picks. We have the Galena coming out from Coollerz, we have the Doomslayer from Av3k. They are two extremely, well, meta picks. There's no other way to describe it, really. Corrupted Keep up next with the Visor. Visor is one of the slightly more unusual picks on Corrupted Keep of all maps, but Coollerz, he's often to pick Visor, I think. It's not really something that can surprise us. From a personal player standpoint, we have the Icing coming out from Av3k. Blood Run. I'm interested by this Athena. You have the mobility coming out from Strog and Pika. Again, a champion Coollerz has, especially since the crouch slide, definitely not been shy of picking. But Athena, she is the most high-octane champion in the game. She is extremely hard to play, but in the hands of a top-level player, she can just do things that no one else can. And Av3k, I guarantee he's ready for this pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that overall the picks are pretty balanced, but I would still kind of give the edge to Av3k. The Doomslayer on Awoken, I think, is like basically unbeatable, or probably the best pick. I mean,
S-tier.
And of course, yeah, S-tier, absolutely. And then on Corrupted Keep, you said, yeah, Visor. Coollerz loves Visor, very popular among many of the Russian pros, but the map is just so small that you kind of have to ask yourself, when is it really worth using the side? Because you should usually have a pretty decent idea of where your opponent is at anyways, without having to use the ability.
So it could be a bit of a limiting factor there, potentially. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. Before we get into this one, though, straight off the back, obviously, I know big man Coollerz there, and it's hard to dispute the fact that anyone is going to be able to dethrone him. He looks so dominant at Luka, and he's coming to this tournament feeling pretty confident. Do you think there's potential here for Av3k to take it, or are you going with Coollerz?
I feel like Av3k can beat anyone if he's having a day where he just is playing well. You can say that about a lot of players here. Av3k is quite an extreme example of that. It is all about just reputation and legacy, and just what Av3k has been able to do previously against some really insane level players. Even though it's possible though, I do think that Coollerz is just on a great form at the moment, and I mean, he is the reigning champion.
For a reason,
it's hard
right?
not to go with him, so I'm going to say 2-1 likely, but I do think Coollerz has the edge.
I'm gonna go with the same.
Yeah.
1 for Coollerz. I do think that's going to be how this match ends up going. But then again, Av3k did take down Nosar earlier. Obviously,
Yeah, that's
a good
true.
player himself. So it really depends, and I don't know what we're going to see. It depends all on the form that Av3k's in.
Well, looks like we're going to be checking out the King first, and he's going to be in a nice little position to go and collect the heavy straight away. They've gone for a little bit of a trade there. Av3k taking it more immediately though, so there's like an automatic delay in between the two of these items.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all about gathering that information. Av3k is near the LG point, we're just trying to get out. Oh my word. There was a lot of damage in return, but it wasn't enough to seal the deal.
Absolutely not. Coollerz surviving 18 points of health. He's clinging on. Gotta be careful there though. Av3k moving in to take away the mega health. Coollerz, gotta be careful. Nice rail, avoids the damage from the orbs as well. But still, not in the best of shape. Av3k has got a slight stack advantage.
And there's no hourglasses nearby just yet, which is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Galena, the fortification is kind of unreal when you have all three of them stacked and ready to go. That mobile mega on demand, it lets you kind of just choose what part of the map you want to control. Yeah, there's not really as much pressure on you to just run the full cycle and take both if you don't want to, especially if you have a sizable lead. But looks like Coollerz has the drop on Av3k. There is some damage being returned though, but that's a scary place to be when there are rockets peppering down. You can tell Coollerz, he doesn't want to give up an angle. He doesn't want to give Av3k anything to work with.
Yeah. I liked the little double jump rail from Av3k too. Unfortunately for him, didn't quite manage to connect, but still, it's that little kind of tech that you see coming out of Doomslayer on a map like this that really elevates him. Now, of course, Av3k does have to be careful with the totems, because that is one of the advantages that Coollerz can absolutely get on this map. If he gets 3 of those totems up and running, he basically has a mega at his disposal wherever he wants, because he can overstack them and get so much healing done. So it's very important that Av3k keeps track of where those totems are, tries to actively hunt them down and take them out.
Coollerz is playing a scary game, looking for a couple of sneaky rail angles, but he's kind of in and out in less than a second, really. He was railable up until that totem came through. Av3k fortunately couldn't see him, but has it done much to shut down the stack? Not really. Coollerz just trying really not to give Av3k anything here. The danger is he had to kind of concede those major pickups. Speaking of which, Heavy just about to spawn, hence Coollerz here. He's just trying to get some of that potential damage, stop Av3k and even the odds. Really kind of bullied his way across there. That's nice that he's been able to somewhat even that up. Problem is, he is in a tricky position. Totem is in play, and it's likely, yes, Av3k.
I think that was a bit of a fumble on the weapon choice right there from Coollerz, sticking with the Tri-Bolt for just a tad too long, and Av3k realized it and took great advantage over it. Just dodged and weaved in between some of the Tri-Bolt shots, close to distance, and then obviously Coollerz has to switch at the last possible moment, but unfortunately there was no more time.
Av3k needs more rocket ammo and more health. As I say that, eats a rail for his troubles, and now Coollerz, he can smell blood in the water. He wants to push his way on, really wants to shut it down. The Berserk is going to get popped. A couple of small health bubbles will be okay, but yeah, this is just let the timer run out. As I mentioned earlier today, problem with Berserk is that you can't cancel it manually, so you're stuck in melee, hoping they just don't see you, basically. But it looks like Coollerz, he's going to press the advantage. Can he finish it? Nah, misses the rail. Av3k, it's good that he's been able to survive at the very least, but again, he's going to be behind for a while. There's plenty of stuff to restack up on, but the advantage is going to go to Coollerz, just establishing his threat on the map, getting a nice amount of control. However, Av3k is looking to be a little bit sneaky here before Mega spawns. He is out of rockets, and that has been a problem. A couple of opportunities to go and get some rocket ammo. He just didn't quite take that detour.
Yeah.
But now I think rockets would really help him right about now.
Yeah, because Coollerz is pushing in aggressively. He knows when to be aggressive and when not. The LG pushing him up against the wall. Av3k drops down to his death as Coollerz gets that one frag lead, and he's got a good rotation in front of him. First the Heavy, 15 seconds later the Mega, and that's going to be difficult for Av3k to break. Ooh, especially with that kind of turret damage. Coollerz though, he's very early. He might go down before Mega spawns. Did he get a miss time? Kinda looked like it.
Also caught with, that was either caught with somewhat of a wrong weapon when he had the rail out on hit, and obviously the downtime exists in between shots whether you hit the shot or not. But there's also the chance that, oh my word. I was about to say there's almost a ring out, but then Doomslayer got shot off the map anyway. But yeah, there was the chance that maybe he was going to bank on taking the damage and then just getting the Mega anyway, and either way, it did not work out. But he has the lead all the same, 3-2 Av3k. Yeah, there's no way he's going to jump there. I love this use of LG. You know, not only he just has the right angle, Doomslayer does not like the lightning gun. It shuts down his double jump so effectively because he's stuck in the air for so much longer than he normally would be. Looks like Av3k is going to press the advantage, make it a 3-3 though. Very back and forth so far.
Absolutely. Neither player really able to establish solid control for extended periods of time. He's just going back and forth in Av3k's favor, Coollerz's favor. One gets a frag, the other gets a frag. And so the ball just keeps on rolling, 3-3. We're halfway through the first map of the final series of the day. So far, there is no telling who might come out on top.
As we explore Av3k and his options, runs in there and snaps up the Mega.
Yeah, needs a rocket still.
A little bit of a rude awakening there from Coollerz. I see you. But now the trade. Av3k may not have taken the armor, but I'm sure he's aware. He's got the timing in his head, wasn't too far away. But he has a nice stack advantage. The danger with the stack advantage is you always have to factor in the totem. Every time. There's always going to be a totem drop during a fight. There's going to be that instant burst of health. You kind of have to do the math on the fly. It's what makes Galena so scary. If she can start to fortify, some great rails though from Av3k.
Don't need to factor in the extra health, but you can just rail and rail and rail before she even has the opportunity to put up a totem. Misses a very important shot though. Coollerz with an absolutely gutsy move, looping right back around. Av3k not expecting that at all, and that's giving Coollerz a lifeline.
And in the chaos of escaping their Berserk, I believe hitting the jump a little bit too early and didn't quite get the height on the light. Taking that away from Coollerz in this position would have been quite beneficial. And we're down to that rail. Taking the rail damage, but it's swiftly undone by Coollerz. Coollerz taken out just before he had a chance to escape, and Av3k starting to run away with this a tiny bit.
Av3k's looking good, both personally as well as, of course, in game. The man is bringing it. I mean, you gotta shout out the hair, right? Wow. You can't get around that fabulousness, but he's also just absolutely making it work right now. Coollerz on the back foot, having to escape these situations. Gotta be careful with the turret. Oh, yep. Does manage to avoid the damage.
Here's
Stays up.
Av3k aggression. Av3k aggression exists, but it's not all the time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of restraint right there from Av3k to just dip back. Keep the advantage, and now
rocket. This should be a frag for Av3k as well. But I think he realized he was really low. Okay.
Hang on a minute.
I think that would have been a frag if he had more LG ammo.
Coollerz would be he'd be in a better position right now though if the Mega was just a bit sooner. He's quite weak here. So if Av3k chooses to try and establish himself towards the Mega as it's about to spawn, Coollerz, he is going to position himself ready. The totem's going to make a nice difference, and this should be a free pickup. Av3k, off the spawn, he's got to get some weapons. He really needs them. And at the same time, he has everything he needs now to try and deny. Coollerz has a lot of stack to work with. Granted, he hasn't got a totem, but if he outstacks Av3k, it doesn't really matter yet. And the heavy, no rocket damage taken. Coollerz just in and out, dodges too, like it never happened. Wonderful rail too. Yeah, a minute. Looking to make chase. Av3k gonna be on the run. Coollerz always wise to the defensive shots. He's always ready for those rockets.
Starting to mount a comeback. There we go. That's 1 of 2. He only needs 1 more to tie things right back up. Heavy up in a few seconds. This is going to be a fight for the heavy. Both Av3k and Coollerz are there. Coollerz, does he know he's down there? There we go. LG. Av3k only's got the rail to work with. This could be huge for Coollerz.
It's also tricky for Coollerz because he only had 1 ammo left for his lightning gun.
Perfect play from Av3k right there. That's exactly what he needs to do. Not give himself up too easily, but instead go for these nice angles with the rail. But Coollerz dodges right back in to the heavy nail gun.
Bad spawn, Av3k. Presses the advantage. Coollerz has nothing to fight back. He got caught absolutely in the wrong place at the wrong time. And there was very little chance he was going to survive that one. Bad time to get caught out, though, as now we only have 1 minute of this first map, and it's going to go to Av3k. At this rate,
Yeah, 3 frags of a deficit. That's a lot, even for a player of Coollerz caliber. Mega will be spawning favorably for him. There's rails though. The rails and another one. That's 1-2. Mega picked up and a third, and that takes away almost all of the stack gained from that major item. Av3k now taking control of the center area of the map. He doesn't want to just start running away just yet. Oh, he knows. He knows. Cooler, after that 120 rocket damage to the face, nothing he can really push for anymore. He just holds his position, stays where he feels comfortable. He's got the rail, he's got the LG, he's got the rockets, he's got everything, and he knows Cooler does not. And that's an easy frag for him.
By all means, all she wrote.
Yep.
Last minute run on to get the Mega. Just tries to go for the last minute highlight reel clip there with the rail. It was his last rail in the tank. Would have been quite nice, but that all the same is going to be a map win for Av3k.
I mean,
but that was back and forth. It was hard to call until the last few minutes.
I love seeing Av3k like this, right? Because this is a man who week 9, second to last week, was still on the chopping block, getting ready to do his relegation match, fight for his survival in the Quake Pro League, and here he is taking a map off of Cooler.
The champion.
H1 champion, yeah, of course, Cooler the king, the champ. And Av3k is looking pretty damn good.
This is why when I talk about Av3k, I say that he has a very kind of confusing journey in Pro League. Because if you looked at players you would think would potentially struggle during, I suppose, the entire process, he's not the player you'd have thought about. I don't think anyone really would have put him on like a top 3 list, maybe even a top 5 list. He's just, the legacy's there, the skill is there. I mean, the proof's in the pudding, you know, what we say back home. It's just, you just watch him play and you can tell instantly that, yeah, this guy's a top level player.
Oh yeah.
He just took a map off Cooler and he looked good doing it. Like,
what I was about to say before we jumped into the first map is that the pool of players that have a genuine shot at winning a tournament is growing. If you look back at Quake a few years ago, before Quake Champions, that pool was really, really small. But now, if you just look at these performances, you've got Cooler, you've got Kilson, you've got Rafa, you've got Fengur, you've got Razy, you've got Cypher, you've got Av3k. It keeps growing and growing and growing at these top level contenders that are absolutely proving their worth time and time again.
It just opens up a lot of discussion, doesn't it? It makes the LAN exciting. This is what it's all about. We can't count out Cooler though. That would be a big mistake. But a 2-0 would be unexpected, as far as I'm concerned.
I do agree, but I think Av3k has got his sights set on that belt. You know, it would accessorize his outfits quite nicely, I think, and he wants to take that one home.
Oh, you know,
he's hungry for the
win.
win.
Take some Instagram pictures with that. You know he would. It'd be the first thing he did. But we are going into Corrupted Keep, and there was a bit of a discussion over Coolest champion choice here. The visor on Corrupted Keep. We have seen it before.
We have.
It's just not very popular.
Yeah. No, and I think the main reason is obvious. Corrupted Keep is a pretty small map, right? You should, at a high level of Quake, generally have a pretty good idea of where your opponent is at. And so obviously the visor ability, it's used to reveal your opponent's location, but the smaller the map, the easier it is to read your opponent's whereabouts, the less valuable, of course, the piercing sight becomes. So that's why this might be a bit of a questionable pick, but of course it is Cooler. He's probably thinking of some particular use.
Okay, looks like we're loading into map number 2, Cooler versus Av3k, for our last series of the night. By all means, everyone at home, let us know. Use the hashtag Quake Pro League. Let us know who you want to win this series. Av3k or Cooler is super hard to call. 2 fan favorites. Av3k, when he plays his cards right, could get a 2-0 here as this first fight semi breaks out. There's definitely some damage exchanged, and Av3k.
That defensive nail gun from Cooler, though, he did so much damage right then and there. Av3k was just ready to pounce on him, but oh my god, the rocket bouncing him up instantly into the LG. Mega is up, Av3k will be picking that one up, gladly making his way over to Heavy off the bat, but that will be going to Cooler. Obviously, Av3k, as you mentioned earlier, he's got the aggression, but he also knows how to regulate it well, and that was not the time to go in, and such he didn't.
Av3k made Cooler look like a clay pigeon in that first frag. Just perfectly set up. There's really not much he could do to change what was going on when he's knocked up into the air. And here comes that eternal long-range fight. There's no rail on this map, but we're going to make it work. And there's a lot of damage done out. Cooler, his heavy machine gun is always top knowledge. And top notch. That's not even a term. The piercing sight can also really help those long-range fights. It does make it a lot easier to just pepper out, know where you're shooting when you've got all the cover coming through. But Av3k, uh-oh.
Yeah, forced onto the defensive. Good rocket though. That's going to send Cooler back at least for the time being. Av3k doesn't have any rockets anymore, and that is going to be the tied game. 1-1. Cooler just dropping down aggressively using the LG, but oh my god, Av3k coming right back at him. Really good damage, actually. Turret! Oh no! Clean it up! Anyways.
As ZSX would say, turret MVP.
Turret MVP, indeed. You always gotta consider it when you're playing against an Ison, and I don't think he really thought that one all the way through.
He just flew too close to the sun in that example, but with it being 2-2 now, Cooler, the piercing sight is back up and running if need be. Av3k extremely weak, and Cooler, again, Cooler gets the frag, but he takes a lot of damage. It's not so bad now thanks to the Mega being in play, but Av3k, he's more than fighting back in these fights.
Av3k raining down the rockets from above. Cooler is still missing that weapon, but the shotgun will almost be enough. 1 second more, and that would have definitely been Cooler's frag, but it is Av3k keeping this a very close game. 3-3. 3 minutes in.
Now is Cooler going to chase. Getting some great damage again. It's just far too risky. It's far too risky for Av3k to try and jump down and shut that down. Goes in with the super shotgun, point blank, really maximizing as much damage as he can if he's going to chase him around the corner. Problem is that one frag, it's set a lot of potential momentum in motion for Cooler, but he's taking a lot of rocket damage actually, and the turret just making life even more miserable. You want to look at the turret? Well, have a rocket.
Cooler just backed up a little too far right there. Got too close to the wall, and then the rocket behind him, the blast damages was enough to finish him off. Av3k, bad position to be in. Cooler right below, but you gotta respect the plasma. We've seen Cooler do amazing things with it, and of course we are on land, and that's something you always hear. The plasma gun, the nail gun, works so much better on land. I think he ran out of ammo for that engagement. That's a shame, but Cooler getting the lead once again.
There's that piercing sight, there's that immediate information. Trying to put himself in a better position here to take this Mega, but it's more, I mean, they're very evenly spread when it comes to the damage output. It's super hard to really call who you think has an edge. Most of the time there's a somewhat even 1v1. They're doing such even damage to each other.
We've seen a lot of corrupted keeps with high frag count.
Wow! Oh, wow.
But one of the remarkable things is that this is not frags going to one person. It's 5-5, right? Very often when you see corrupted keep with high score counts, it's just because one player completely dominates the other. This is anything like it at all, because they just keep going back and forth, same as the first map.
Cooler getting deleted again. The heavy machine gun, just the star performer of this map sometimes.
Yeah. It's the only way to really do consistent long-range damage, and that's exactly why players love it so much on Corrupted Keep. It is a staple of the map, essentially replacing the railgun. LG on LG, Av3k's aim looking a little shaky right there. Turret does not come out fast enough to give him any sort of help during the fight, and he's just going right back in. The nails need to be good, and indeed they are. Still Av3k maintaining that one frag lead. Heavy up in a few seconds, but Cooler clearly interested in some of that. Av3k, do you really want to take it? Clever decision, I think. Just backing away, leaving it up.
I mean, with how both Av3k and Cooler are approaching this map, there's no downtime. There's zero of it. Like, for the entire 10 minutes, you just need to be absolutely head screwed on mode, because one of them goes down, they are more than aware of what the opponent's attack is. Rockets out of nowhere.
First one was a midi, and the second one was just up against the ledge, so that the damage kind of spilled over. That was beautifully done from Cooler, from such a bad position too. And now Av3k raining down damage through the tribal, but Cooler does have the heavy to fall back on.
Perfect use of the piercing sight again, Av3k. The disengage is only going to last so long because now the damage is real. Cooler in the advantage by all means. This should be his frag. He's in a great position to get the Mega. Av3k likely to drop here. There are some health pickups, but with the stack difference as extreme as it is, Av3k
Av3k now faces the difficult task of playing passive and defensive on Corrupted Keep. He doesn't have any armor to his name. One rocket can and will finish him off. And Coollerz on the hunt. Here we go. Av3k does manage to find himself a small armor, but he needs a lot more than that if he's going to take on Coollerz. And here we go. Coollerz using the piercing sight, tracking Av3k down effectively. Can he get the frag and the lead? Once again, Av3k slipping through the cracks. Coollerz maintaining his composure though, and that's also something important when you're in this situation, right? You can't get flustered because you can't get the frag when you want it. You just need to keep applying pressure and it'll come.
The use of the piercing sight has certainly been interesting. It's about bagging kind of free damage in between the exchanges. It's about giving Coollerz that immediate information to, you know, how can he kind of position himself before one of the main items spawns, but at the same time, it's damage Av3k really can't answer back to unless he's always ready to have the piercing sight ready, which is, you know, at any given moment, if Coollerz has it, he can just pull it. Like right now, he's pulled it. Av3k with no armor in play. And it's not even about denying at this stage. We're just going to go full speed ahead and make chase. Now, where is he? Oh, he's doubling back. Av3k was going for the light armor.
What is even happening? Av3k should have been dead
he just ran a loop
minutes ago, but he's just somehow clinging on with like 50 points of health at times, even lower. And he even managed to steal a heavy. He just took it right underneath Coollerz' nose. Coollerz was just trailing him, trying to get the damage in. And Av3k's like, hey, you know what? I'll take the armor off your hands free of charge. My pleasure. And right now, Coollerz, you can tell he wishes he would have capitalized off of that. Fortunately for him, unable to though.
Ooh, and some bonus LG damage at the same time, which is going to comfortably kind of even the stack a little bit. Coollerz is going to get the heavy, but Av3k, all about position. Who's going to be able to get this mega? This mega going to matter so much in the next fight that's going to break out. Looks like he's pushed himself. Av3k in and out. He's gone. Ah, he's doubling back. Interesting. Yeah. Trying to get some of that extra damage on deck.
Might have been a mistake. That really might have been a mistake for Av3k to put himself in that position right now.
Piercing sight's ready to go too.
Yeah. Okay, Av3k should just wait right now. Piercing sight's up. Don't show yourself. Don't show yourself. And here we go. Fighting can resume right now. Av3k looking for a way out of a very, very tricky situation, but I really don't know what he's gonna do right now. Every single time he shows his face, he's going to get pelted with that heavy machine gun damage. He needs a way out. He's probably gonna die. The rocket jump actually makes it with like 2 points of health left. Av3k, escape artist of the day, I feel like. Absolutely amazing.
And the fact he's been able to restack up the way he has is insane to begin with. It has given Coollerz loads of control, but at the same time, it's even.
Yeah.
And we're likely going to come down to what could be, you know, about one frag here. We're just about to go into the 1 minute warning, but the fact that Av3k hasn't died like the last 3 times, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, very true. Coollerz, he wants to finish this now because he knows the longer Av3k survives, the more and more likely it becomes that he suddenly changes things around. And here we go. This is an opportunity. Coollerz is not going to let Av3k get out of that situation.
Yeah, we can't forget that Av3k has already 1 map up at this point, and if he wins this map into 2-0, he's moving on. Like, Coollerz can't really allow this.
And now all the pressure back on Av3k. Coollerz got the stack advantage. Av3k dropping down the LG needs to be phenomenal to overcome Coollerz armor. Doesn't look like it is, and Coollerz is going to be completely content just waiting at the teleporter exit. Says, oh, you want some of this? Why don't you come get it, man? Just waiting for Av3k to advance the situation. And there we go. That's the end of it. Yep, with 15 seconds left, 2 frags of a lead for Coollerz. The Russian player, no doubt, going to move into the deciding game. That means we got to get to see Av3k again, Ryan.
We do, and we get to see how effective it might be. It's just about how much experience is there. Av3k, no doubt he's been practicing it, otherwise he wouldn't have picked it, for crying out loud, but that is going to be a second map going to go in the favor of Coollerz. And it's kind of fitting, our last series of the night, we're going into a final map scenario, 2 legends head-to-head. That's what Quake Pro League is all about. It's where legends collide. It's a champions tournament.
I mean, absolutely, the players we have in here, right now, these are the best Quake players in the entire world. There is no one better, and they are absolutely showing it to us all time and time again. Coollerz displaying great mental resilience right there in this matchup, but Av3k, man, the evasive plays. This has been the best evasions we've seen all day. absolutely. Av3k should have been dead time and time again, but somehow with 20 points of health, no armor, he survives for 3 minutes running away from Coollerz on such a tiny map. Coollerz having piercing sight of all things. What an amazing feat.
But it's just a testament to how back and forth this series has been as well. I think we've really sort of been spoiled with a good one for the end of this session tonight. However, yeah, we're going into that final map scenario. It should be Blood Run. It was Blood Run, I'm sure it was. Yeah, the Athena. And when we've seen Athena on Blood Run before, and it is a treat. It's just so effective. We can talk about that in droves very, very shortly, as we are just about to go into our third and final map. But all around for Cooler, he's even in the odds, and can we say we're surprised? Not really.
Now, what does surprise me though is actually how little Super Shotgun was used on Corrupted Keep this time around, because usually it's one of the staples of the map, right? People use it all the time. They just get the shotgun, charge in and hope for the best. But this time around, neither player really used it all that much. It was all about the nail gun as well as the heavy machine gun and of course, rockets and LG.
Well, we haven't really got a lot of time left really to digest. I think this is... It's hard to call with just how back and both of the maps have been back and forth maps. There really has just been no one player is clearly in the advantage. It's, like I said, it's not really a surprising outcome. What is going to be interesting is just Av3k's level of how prepared he is to use Athena, because she is a unique champion.
Yeah.
And it's not one that you see all the time. And you need to put in a lot of time to really maximize what she can do.
She's definitely also not a champion that you would like associate with Av3k, but okay, Coollerz dropping right down, using the shotgun, hopefully, like he was hoping to get some good point blanks right there. Didn't quite go his way, and Av3k with one of the quickest frags I think we see on Blood Run, instantly getting that 1-0 up.
Av3k is one of the most famously known aggressive players, and Athena is an aggressive player's character. So we'll see if there's going to be some of that coming out now. It's just all about the grappling hook, the fact that she can just, right there, zip it whenever she wants. She can give herself a boost of speed. Didn't need the grappling hook to get the frag there. You know, that's universal.
Bit of a misplay from Coollerz right there. Positioning himself that much into a corner just opens it up to be trapped by rockets, and that's exactly what happened. Those two rockets, just bouncing him back into the corner. And now Av3k, he's just ripping and tearing through Coollerz' defensive, landing the shots. Can he find another one? Look at that. Clever little play, using the hook to his advantage, and he even baits Coollerz out! Oh!
Disgusting.
4-0.
Despicable. Athena in the hands of a skilled player. You never get tired of seeing it.
Man, this is gotta be tough for Coollerz. I mean, he's already 4 frags behind on one of the most defendable maps in the entire pool, and he's trying to chase down an Athena of all champions.
I mean, how often do you see 4 frags in a minute and a half on Blood Run?
Oh, almost never.
But it's the unique element, the grappling hook being used to not only avoid the rail angle, but just set up a bait that Coollerz took the bait for on a silver platter. Coollerz forced into the complicated section of the map, often where you're just so far behind. Coollerz likely to go down again. 5-0 in less than 2 minutes. This is surely best case scenario for the hometown hero.
And the reads from Av3k. He just reading Coollerz almost like a book, it seems, and Coollerz unable to get away from the Athena. He's just getting pressured all around, and I think this is just Av3k aggression. Once again, you can see it. He's always applying pressure. He's not taking fights unnecessarily or in any sort of stupid manner, but he's just consistently there, constantly doing damage to Coollerz. Here we go, once again, setting up a nice little trap. Coollerz retaliating. That's actually a good amount of damage. Av3k out of ammo for the LG, but he'll make it work with rockets nonetheless.
Just straight up patience there from Av3k, right near heavy. And Coollerz kind of running around the corner, a bit like a bull in a china shop. I do fear that he's being a little bit too just forward moving.
Yeah, it might very well be the case, you know. This is what we were worried about when it came to talks earlier, you know. To Coollerz perhaps putting himself out there a bit too much over and over again. Whereas Av3k is just like, oh, you want to keep coming? Sure, I've got the hooks, I've got the escape routes, I will take you on any day. And now Coollerz doesn't have any armor to his name whatsoever. Av3k will collect once again a major item, and Coollerz really struggling.
Some rail misses, though, is going to give Coollerz some breathing space. In return, here comes the Athena, point blank, and oh no, forces the suicide. That was going to be a rocket frag either way. It was just going to be Coollerz rocket or Av3k's.
How often is it you see Cooler on land with -1 score? Like, that happens next to never. This is the king we're talking about, the current finalist, or champion rather, of the Quake Pro League. Here we go. Here we go. Okay.
Now, we've been talking about how insane it is to have had so many frags in a short space of time. The benefit of that is there's plenty of time left for Cooler to mount a comeback. He's been able to make it 0 again. But I mean, yeah, we just have to look at the frag that allowed that. That was an Athena that went point blank in a rocket fight. That was either going to be a suicide or a frag. There's really nothing you can do to stop it. But now Av3k just trying to get any kind of damage he can. Some beautiful tri-bolt though from Cooler. And that's going to force Av3k on the defense.
Cooler, of course, realizing that his opponent playing a light, squishy champion doesn't have the same stack that he does. So when that tri-bolt connects, unfortunately for him, that one just barely didn't. But still, he's got a long road ahead of him, right? 6 minutes left to go for 6 frags on Blood Round. That's not an easy feat.
He's been able to establish some levels of control here. Control's only going to be, it's only going to mean so much at this stage when we are looming on that 5-minute warning. Av3k, he's just done so much work at the very beginning that Cooler playing extremely from behind at an early stage. It's quite a tall ask on this. You know, we've literally just seen base on this map, and it was a polar opposite.
Cooler taking control of the middle section of the map. Not really trying to chase that aggressively just yet, but he's just trying to hopefully capture Av3k at a bad spot, maintaining control of the center area of the map where he can easily execute these short little raids on different parts of the area. So far unsuccessful though, Av3k being as slippery as he can be, and Cooler unable to get a firm grasp.
Springs an attack again. The stack's good, but he's got to watch out for those rockets. Av3k, one of them hits its mark and then some. Makes Cooler a bit too nervous to push. And now even then, with no armor, it's actually kind of risky going in for this heavy. At this point, though, Av3k's not really interested in it. We can't really ignore the fact that it's 6-0. So if Av3k doesn't want to extend, it doesn't really need to. If you want to play a runaway game, yes, Strog is going to be fast, but Athena's fast too.
Yeah, absolutely. Cooler. I wonder what's going through his head right now. Obviously a very experienced player, years of top-level Quake under his belt, but this...
Av3k's angles, though, he's just ready for every single one.
And he just, like, he knows, even if Cooler catches him, he can just hook straight back up, right? As he did towards the start. Just get out of that bad corner that he's in. So Cooler approaching him from the top, blocking basically the use of the hook in that situation. And he's collecting a lot of major items right now, but he needs frags, he needs damage. Items he can do without.
Cooler looking for the right moment. Oh, that missed rail. Hurts so good. Av3k going to be happy with that one.
Yeah.
Damage is better than anything.
I like the trap though that Cooler was setting up right there. He knew that Av3k was around, saw the small armor spawn, realized that his opponent was hurting, and obviously wanted to get his hands on that, but this is not looking good. Cooler, it's a bit of a meme sometimes, you know, Cooler missing the rocket jumps and these easier jumps sometimes, but not at a time like this.
I mean, accidents happen, right? Actually, look at the player cam. You can tell he was a little bit affected by it, but it hasn't really dipped his concentration. Oh, that is Cooler. Stone-faced killer all the time.
Good read. Perfect double back. You can tell Av3k was expecting Cooler to just chase him through the teleporter, but Cooler read exactly what he's going for and just cut him off right there.
Looking for his opening. Oh, beautiful rail. Av3k's rails have been obnoxious throughout the course of this map.
Yep.
Every time Cooler has a shred of an opening, bam, rail, done.
But even though Cooler is sometimes being able to restore that control that he had towards the start, what's it gotten him, right? We're 2.5 minutes out from the end of the map, and still Av3k 5 frags in the lead. Cooler, he has to make some drastic changes and starts fragging. But otherwise, this is going to be a 2-1 very soon.
I mean, it was like a 3-minute hurricane, wasn't it? Just so much happened in such a short space of time that looked elements like it was just catching Cooler by surprise, because some of those frags, Cooler was kind of just moving around the map normally and just running right into Av3k's line of sight, where I just don't think he was ready for him to be in certain places where he was. And you rarely see Cooler get snuck up on like that or surprised like that. The preparation is what he's famous for.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, Cooler, he is mounting these attacks, he's facing the opportunity, but then every single time he does, Av3k is there with a direct rocket to the face or a rail to punish him right back down. And and Cooler completely unable to break Av3k's ironclad defenses. Yeah, I see a little bit of a...
Frustration.
Frustration, resignment maybe as well.
A minute and a half to get 5 frags. Av3k's been playing that runaway game, and he's been doing it perfectly. Here he is, even too high up for the LG to really reach, just out of its line of sight. And oh dear, oh, we might even see a frag.
Yeah.
We do. Av3k picks up another one. This Athena has just been an MVP all round.
I'm gonna call GG right there. I think it's basically done. Cooler needed that frag there. And now, Av3k again, 6 frags in the lead. He's got the movement, the mobility. Cooler, of course, is fast, but the difference is that Av3k has the vertical mobility. He can very easily traverse the center of the map, whereas Cooler cannot.
This is exactly my point about why Av3k's journey in Quake Pro League has been confusing, to say the least.
Yeah.
How he was essentially up until the very final week where he had to defeat base to avoid relegation. But now at the LAN, he's just beat the champion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this level of just, wait, what? Is this the same Av3k we're talking about? He's going to feel fantastic after this result, but by no means is his tournament journey going to be over. It won't be for either player, but for Av3k, this is going to be a damn good result.
Oh yeah, he's got some more tough matches ahead. Cooler is going to call the GGs. The map hasn't even finished yet, but guys, that is going to be it. The end of the last map of the day. Cooler will be going down and Av3k taking home the win.
How about that? You know that's going to be insanely good for Av3k's confidence.
Gotta be careful with the stage hazards.
The windy breeze and the windy effect. Gotta love it. But to break away from that, Av3k just played fantastically. But this is why he is always recognized as one of the most dangerous players. No matter how much of a disastrous kind of weekly he has, if he loses X amount, you'll never count him out. And this is exactly why. Because when it's time to play and the chips are officially down, he always brings it.
I just hope that he can build on this momentum tomorrow, right? Because that's what he needs. He just beat Cooler, the current reigning champion of the Quake Pro League. He has to be able to carry this into the next day and just build upon this amazing win and stick it to more people. You know, he's got to keep at it, and I hope that that momentum doesn't fade away.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day, and there's been many games got through. I think this was a fine note to end things on. But all the Cooler fans out there, this isn't his tournament journey over.
No, absolutely.
We still have the nature of the double elimination.
Absolutely. So Cooler will be dropping down into the lower brackets, but that of course gives him a full lifeline to claw his way back into potentially the finals at the end.
Well, let's recap what we have just witnessed here, because this really is quite a big feat, obviously, for Av3k coming in. We know Av3k on LAN is a whole different beast to Av3k online.
Yep.
He's proved that once again. An amazing result, a 2-1 versus Cooler. If we start off, it's the fact that Cooler seemed eternally doomed on Awoken. There was nothing that would work for him, and he just got overthrown. We go into the second map as well, ridiculously close, astronomically. It could have been a 2-0. It's just, you know what I mean? That is just such a bizarre thing for us to even be discussing right now. The fact Av3k's come in swinging and dismantled Cooler. What were your key takeaways?
I mean, especially on the first map, the start at least was pretty close, I feel like. You know, it was going back and forth. Cooler was getting a frag, Av3k was getting a frag. We're seeing it right here in front of our very eyes again. But then at some point, Av3k just manages to pull away, bringing things into the second map, which again starts off close. And I think that just kind of summarized it up. You know, it has been pretty close up until the very final map, Blood Run, where all of a sudden Av3k gets an incredible start, runs with a 6 frag lead before we're even 4 minutes in.
But the sheer level of momentum and the positions he was in to take Cooler by surprise were kind of Athena exclusive situations too. It is the danger of that champion in the hands of a really top level player, and she just had that burst of momentum. And you know, not to mention that not really suggesting that that was the sole reason. It's just you still need to be really good with that champion to make it work. It's just that it was a real curveball for the first few minutes, and the amount of work Coollerz had to do from that point onwards was just too much of a tall order. You never see that many frags in like 2 minutes on Blood Run. It's almost impossible for that to happen at top level.
Well, Av3k went in and just caused havoc, right? He absolutely popped off, and the problem was his escape game was so good, as you said, because the Athena, Coollerz the entire time, obviously, when we had him on screen, you could see he was getting visibly frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, I think it really did get to him.
I mean,
escaping was the magic word, Flea. It really was, because you pointed it out on Corrupted Keep. He was even managing to avoid danger and not die on Corrupted Keep, which is one of the hardest maps to do that on. And then in future maps, I mean, it's easier for him to do it because of the tools available to him. Av3k was just the king of survival.
I mean, we saw it so many times. They just used the hook brilliantly to completely throw Coollerz off guard, juke him around. I still remember that one frag down at the bottom armor. He was stuck in a little corner. He was raidable, zips right back up, and Coollerz's like, okay, I hear you, go away. Nope, Av3k drops right back down in front of him and nets himself yet another frag. So clearly, the man's Athena game, I think, is better than a lot of people were expecting.
Oh yeah, well, let's grapple hook our way into the upper bracket and recap how things have gone over the course of the tournament. Obviously, a very jam-packed day today, boys. We've had a lot of exciting games, a few upsets, a few results that I don't think people expected, and some really juicy gameplay.
I mean, this is only the beginning.
Oh yeah.
We've had some fantastic games, but the really competitive ones are about to start tomorrow. You know, you can see Rafa versus Cypher. That series needs zero introduction. Wenger versus Dehang, Razy versus Av3k, and then Toxic versus Kilson. We've seen those two players go head-to-head quite a lot in the past, and this is just the upper side bracket too. This is a nice, accurate representation, though, of the top-level Quake Champions talent. I think it's kind of similar to the leaderboards in a way, really, when they go head-to-head. The lower bracket is where things get just as competitive, but scarier, because this is the last tournament lifeline. If you lose in this bracket, you're out.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see a lot of players have already left us. Effortless, Xanaku, Sparty, Nosva, Dewey, Sip. Quite a few have unfortunately already dropped out of the tournament, but many of them, as you can tell, were clearly very close games.
And also, bear in mind, for any of you out there that still want your fill, you're not happy with a piece of the pie of Quake action, you want some more to stuff your face with, we still have Coollerz versus Chain and Base taking on Dramus on the B stream. So there is still more Quake gameplay going on tonight.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, the B stream has been quite the marathon over the course of the day. Obviously, we watch it when we can, when we're not doing this bit, you know, the main bit, but I mean, the players, they've been at it all day, and they made sure they had plenty of practice on the LAN, and they have been doing that all of yesterday and today. So I'd like to think the players are as prepared as they have been, and this truly has been kind of like a demonstration of the best that these players have to offer. They have all been in good shape.
Oh yeah, and I mean, all of these players, they're active on socials. They've got their own Twitch channel. They stream Quake quite regularly. So please do check them out. If there's any player that you feel like you particularly love the play style of, don't forget you can follow all of them online, watch them play for their perspective, interact with them all you want.
Oh yeah, but for us, for everyone on this desk, we are done for now. Of course, there is more Quake action to go, though. We are going to be back tomorrow with a whole host of games. It is going to be absolutely fabulous. You will not want to miss it. If you've enjoyed the show and want to let us know, hit us up on social, hashtag Quake Pro League. Tell us your thoughts, send in your memes, send it all in. We want to see it. But for now, we are done and dusted. We will return tomorrow here live on the Quake Twitch channel. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's still more.